For priming, it is just like generally painting, but what you need to really take care is that any of the bumps that you have on your canvas, maybe it got it has a gutter or something like that, so it needs to be primed and filled with primer. Now primer in art and craft is called gesso, that is Gesso. You can find good brands on internet, Amazon. Again, you have good craft stores like Itsy Bitsy, Crafter Corners, they all have their gesso. So you go to them, you ask for gesso, and you use it just like paint. So gesso is basically an acrylic paint, but with a thicker version and a very smooth texture feel when it is being done. So it is generally used for priming your canvases to work on your artwork. Now I'll just give you a short demo. Now you can work on more than one layer of priming. So as you can see that this is primed only once. So if I prime it again, so the nails that I can see over here will hide because I'll have another layer, and then I can do a third layer. And you don't really need to have like a time gap between when you do your priming and when you do your resin art. You can have at least 3 to 4 hours, that's all, because this is a very instant, this product is like dries up very instantly. So but still I make sure when I'm using it for a very when I'm making my painting for the client, I let the gesso dry and let my canvas absorb the primer in the most amazing way, so that I have my things ready on my plate. So I'm just going to give you a demo of how to work with your priming. So I'll give my first, and I'm just going to show you how you do it on a non-primed surface, and then I'm just going to give a proper second layer to that one. Okay. So you don't really need your gloves for that. It easily comes off. As you can see, it's like a proper paint. So this is a sponge brush, this is a roller sponge brush, so you can easily find it at any good craft store or even on Amazon. So what I'll do is I'll just take my product here. Because this is an instant dry, so I have to make sure that I cover my canvas. Now the basic thing is, now the most important thing over here is that it needs to be in one direction at one time. I'll cover my canvas with this . So what does this do is, it not only primes, but this brush helps you level the priming. The amount of product you have on the canvas is leveled with this brush. So, as you can see, it's really simple. It's like painting and like a watercolor painting actually. So your hands need to be really flowy in one direction. Now if I want to recoat, so I'll just, if I think that it's not leveled, so I'll just do the second layer. Now I'll do a third one. So it's just to make sure that my canvas is properly covered in priming, and if I have any spaces in these nails, these are filled with the primer itself, so that I have a very smooth and leveled surface, and I don't feel any kind of bumps or leakages when I am working and my resin is cured. Also, one major thing is if I am working in a tray, like if I would have been working it like upside down, right? And because this is a man-made product, so as you know that these trays are man-made, right? Nature does not provide you them, provides you these. So to make sure, if you're working it in this area, like you can work in any surface that you want to. So make sure that these areas are properly filled in your primer. Why do you want to fill it? So the primer also does a really good job for protecting your leak when it comes to resin. So these edges needs to be really filled with prime in a very leveled way, so that none of your resin drips from here and comes here while you're working, or after you have left your studio for it to dry. So make sure that whatever way you're working, if you're working on trays, like people want to do resin trays, so the edges should be really primed. And if you think that you've got a lot on your border, so you have alcohol, you have a normal alcohol or a like a nail polish remover, so you can just remove it. But so that's how you do it. So as you can see that this is just my first layer, right? I've done my first layer. So I'm gonna do a second layer on my own canvas to make sure that these are gone. But you will have a primed surface, so you don't need to go through these things. But yet again, this info is only for you so that you can do another workpiece when you want to do your own workpiece more professionally by your own self through scratch. So I'm just gonna put so these sponges always will have a lot of product in them, so I usually squeeze it out like that, right? If you feel that it's quite thick, so you can use like a very tiny amount of water. As you can see, my hands are getting messy, but I don't care because this is washable. So I'm just making sure that I have a proper white canvas. I think one layer was not enough, and as you can see the difference between the two, the first layer and the second layer has a different. And if you do a third, if you're not satisfied with your white base, so you revise it within another 15 minutes. And till then I'm gonna tell you more about resin. I'm done with my priming, and this is how you do the priming, right?